Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing. We're back in the Corvette GT3, this time at Virginia, for yet another track guide. Now, if you're going to run this in the open setup GT Sprint Series and you want to race the exact setup being driven by Gianni in this track guide, you can go to our website, sambosetups.com, or you can go to our Patreon page. There are links to both in the description. Any questions, do let me know in the comments, but please note that the track temps are shown on the screen on the bottom left. Enjoy the guide. Smashing it down the main straight, looking for the 3 marker on the left hand side. We're going to brake to around 60-65%, long trail off, back on the gas at the apex, but we don't get up to full power until we straighten that wheel out. So I'm going to ignore the apex of turn 2, as I always say, to open up turn 3. Only on the brakes to about 30%, long trail off once again, back on the gas in third. Start the grass on the right hand side, on the brakes to about 50%, trail it off, back on the gas in second, now a lift, back on the gas, and now a lift again before we can resume full power. And we're going to remain full power now all the way up to turn 10, the South Bend dip. So obviously just running over these curbs, keeping the track as short as possible. Now we get into the dip, on the brakes to about 40%, down to 5th, back on the gas, over to the left-hand side, looking for the 3 marker on the left-hand side. Holding the brakes initially up to about 50%, then a long classical trail off, and then smoothly back on the gas. So if you look at the telemetry trace there, it's not just a case of planting that right foot back down. Right, as we come into the little roller coaster bit, so at the 1, on the brakes to about 50%, hold it, and now we trail off down second gear, back on the gas. Going to go flat through the left-hander, going to open up the next left-hander by being all the way over. Now a lift, quick stab on the brakes, back off, back on the gas in 4th, trying to get that right hand down so you don't end up in the field. And over and across the line we go in a 1:42.799. Right, we have the breakdown lap coming up next. Right, here we are on the breakdown lap. Let's run through it as fast as possible. So we're at the 3 marker on the left-hand side. We get on the brake. So initially rolls onto it to about 60-65%, holds it until this point now when we start trailing it off all the way down to the apex. So you want your right-hand tyres on that rumble strip. We start picking back up on the gas. But as I said in the hot lap, we don't reach 100% until we have started unwinding that steering wheel. We've got the grip behind us and we can do so. For turn 2, we're going to ignore that apex, but what we are going to do is once we've gone past it, and once the side of that corner has gone past us, that's when we're going to get on the brakes, and only up to about 25-30%. Now we're going to trail it off all the way down to the next apex when we start getting back on the gas. We don't reach 100% until we're more or less at exit, though. Now, as this extra bit of tarmac asphalt disappears on our right hand side and is replaced with grass, that's when we're going to start braking, and again only up to about 45-50%. We trail that off down to the next apex when we start picking back up on the gas on the rumble strip. We briefly reach 100% before we get the rotation to get through that next corner. Then we're going to increase slightly and then just decrease very slightly again before getting back up to 100% as we go through turn, I believe it's 5A. Now we go through 6 flat and 6A. Track map's just slightly behind us. So every time we're running over these, we are wanting, as you can see here, to just get our wheels on the rumble strip. Now we come to this crest. Once we've gone over it and the car compresses down, that's when the front wheels are going to be able to turn more because they're gripped up, and that's when we get on the brakes, initially to about 40%, and then trail that off, and we get back on to 100%, there we go, or nearly back up to 100% when we're on the apex. Over to the left-hand side, and what we're looking for is this 3 marker on the left. That's when we start braking, so we roll on up to about 55%, and now we're just going to hold it and gently trail off all the way down to here when we start picking back up on the gas well ahead of this curb. So when we do actually clip the curb, we're halfway between sort of, halfway and 2/3 pressure. We get back up to 100% using all the track on exit. Right, now we're looking for this 2 marker. In my head, I always brake at the 1, but I'm not as good as Gianni, so I'm going to go with what he's suggesting. So we brake just before the 2, and again, initially up to about 50-55%, and we're holding that at that same level, still at 53%, as you can see, all the way through until now, and this is when we trail off, and we start picking back up on the gas with our right-hand tyres on that rumble strip. We get up to 100% more or less at the exit, flat through the next corner on the left. Now we want to have our right-hand tyres well over on the rumble strip here. Now we're going to turn in. We want our left-hand tyres to almost be in the grass here. We do a big lift as we actually hit this curb, and then once we come off the curb and we've got a straight wheel, that's when we briefly go up to about 45%. Quick trail off, and then we start picking back up on the gas once again at the apex, straight up to 100% on this one. And that concludes the breakdown lap of the, I'm going to say the Corvette GT3 at Virginia International. We've got one final version coming up next with the driving line on. Without me talking, enjoy.